Hey guys, Noel and Seraphina here for an exciting movie review for the Noel Comics YouTube channel. Today we're going to be reviewing my all-time favorite movie, Bloodsport. Now it's funny, about 3 years ago, right around Christmas time, Santino and I at the old place reviewed Yasuaki Kurata's Blood Fight, one of my all-time favorite movies. So I thought it would be fun since Bloodsport is kind of back in the mainstream. You know, there's the Bloodsport Redux trailer on Jean-Claude Van Damme's Facebook page. It's making the rounds on YouTube. I actually think I might do a reaction video to that in the very near future. But I thought to myself, dude, I've got some movie reviews up on the YouTube channel. I got anime reviews on the YouTube channel. I don't have a Bloodsport review on the YouTube channel. And I don't even know. I mean, I just hope, I like this movie so much, I hope that I can actually do it justice with a review. So let me tell you a little bit about my background with this movie right here. So I was in about 4th grade. I was a huge fan of WCW wrestling. So I often watched TBS to watch things like WCW Clash of the Champions, WCW Saturday Night, sometimes Atlanta Braves baseball, things like that. Hi, yeah. And one thing that I stumbled on one day flipping through the channels on TBS was Bloodsport. I just saw these guys doing really cool martial arts, and I was like, whoa, what is this? Is this the Karate Kid or something? Because I hadn't even seen the Karate Kid, and I just knew that, like, wow, I mean, this is like a really cool martial arts movie. And I sat down and I watched it, and I could not look away. It was so captivating and interesting to my 4th grade boy mind. And anytime I saw that movie on television, would pretty much drop everything and watch it. And, you know, as I grew older, my affection for this movie has not deteriorated, it's only deepened, because this movie does so many things right, and I don't think it's properly appreciated. You know, this movie, I think, was derided in the 1980s as being, you know, oh, cliche, and it's so banal, you know, by all these, you know, hack critics who are probably raving about things like 30-something or, you know, just various kind of haughty, yuppie nonsense that, you know, I personally can't stomach more than 5 consecutive seconds. But Bloodsport is a movie that lacks pretension, but has a ton of creative energy, and is extremely well made in terms of not just its fight choreography, not just the charm of its story, but also really the values that the movie teaches. You know, I'm a Sunday school teacher, and there's a scene, you know, right around this time in the movie where Shidoshi Tanaka talks about the mind, body, and spirit uniting. And when I'm in Sunday school, that's how I explain the Trinity, like God the Father, the mind, Jesus the body, and the Holy Spirit, the Spirit, being the 3 elements of God, and that being the elements of man, and how, you know, that's how God is, man is done in God's image kind of thing. I mean, I pretty much got that from my Christian education, but Bloodsport really helped me articulate it. Another thing about Bloodsport that I really liked, you know, and this is something that was a trope from Enter the Dragon that I actually think Bloodsport did with more charm and beauty, is the idea of, you know, different fighting styles, you know, different worldviews, and those different worldviews and different cultures being encapsulated in different fighting styles. So, brief plot synopsis, and it just helped me be much more appreciative of different cultures. Movies like Bloodsport, the movie Bloodsport, and then also Street Fighter 2 helped that out a lot. But, you know, Bloodsport was so criticized for its cliches, but I think its cliches really made me as a person appreciate other cultures and other techniques of doing things much better, because so many fighters in this movie, they had so much personality and they didn't even have a line. Like, in my opinion, there's this, I think he's got to be Mexican. There's this kickboxer named Paco, right? And he's got, like, literally no lines in this movie, and to me, he's, like, just one of the most memorable characters in any action movie, you know? Hi. So, Bloodsport is based on the Black Belt magazine Tall Tales of the lovable martial artist Frank Dukes. And, Canon Films was well known in the 80s for making really cool, macho B movies with Chuck Norris. And they just so happened to get Jean-Claude Van Damme, coming to America. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, his style of martial arts, some people criticize Jean-Claude Van Damme for not being an expert martial artist. He's a very good martial artist, but his style of martial arts is perfect for Hollywood because it's very spectacle based. He does a lot of ballet and gymnastics and fuses that with his karate. So he does these things like these gigantic spinning like split kicks and just these very elongated, almost ballerina type moves when he's like kicking someone's head off, and it makes for like perfect directorial framing of shots and things like that. There's this great shot that you'll see on like Bloodsport movie posters of Van Damme kicking Bolo Yang, and it's so graceful. Bloodsport, the whole idea is Frank Dukes, who was a real person, would tell all these tall tales about how he was like James Bond and, competed in underground fighting tournaments, so they decided to actually make a movie about the scenarios that he talked about. Hi. And, if you're anyone who has spent any time training in martial arts, a lot of those values are reflected in this movie because this movie isn't, about, like, anything other than being your best person, right? And honoring the people that are important to you. And, there is, like, machismo honor in this film, but it's not done to promote yourself. It's done to pursue the greater good. Right, and in terms of like an action movie, it's got all the perfect elements. It's got the teacher. It's got the cool the cool, humble, charismatic main character. It's got the bombastic, loudmouth, lovable American buddy. They're in Asia, so it's got every flavor of like nerdy and cool Asian guy. It's got the girl, Leah Ayres, the sexy blonde reporter who was in one of those Brady Bunch sequel shows from the 80s. I think it was like The Bradys or whatever, where they tried to make the Brady Bunch a drama or I don't know, whatever. But she's awesome in this movie. And this movie has so many good lines. What's the difference if Bruce Springsteen is a Shidoshi? Show us the dim mock. What is that? Death touch? Everyone who's seen this movie can remember it, the lines. And I'm a teacher, right? I just did a lesson on growth mindset, right? The idea that are you going to try to improve yourself and get better? And this whole training scene right here where he's just this kind of doofy immigrant kid and he, is fascinated by this Japanese sword. And he, gets with this, like, old Japanese guy. And he's not even that old. He's just, like, middle-aged with a nice mustache and receding hairline. In fact, he looks like Vegeta from Dragon Ball GT in the early episodes. Anyway, and it's just, like, you just see him, like, getting his ass kicked repeatedly, like the young Frank Dukes. And he just keeps getting a little better and a little better and a little better. And if you do martial arts, like, that's the spirit that makes you good at martial arts. So, for everyone who's saying this movie is like cliche, if you're someone who studies like martial arts or pursues it, that's a super important aspect of the game, and it's just a super important aspect of life. So there's a lot of like really good character development themes in this movie, in addition to the fact that the story is just very interesting, right? You have this so-called super soldier, although he's not really promoted, he's not really framed in the movie as like, oh, this guy's a super soldier. You just know he's in the military and he's really valuable, and he sneaks off to Hong Kong to fight in this underground fighting tournament to honor his aging master and just to be the best fighter he can be. And he meets this colorful cast of characters and, the villainous Bolo Yang, who's the current champ. And Bolo Yang, he's another guy, dude. He's got like hardly any lines in this movie, and he's one of the most memorable villains in any movie that I can think of. And Dukes ends up basically fighting his way to the top of this tournament, running away from the kind of comic relief army guys that are chasing him, starring a young Forrest Whitaker, by the way. And there's this fantastic 80s synth pop in here, music by Stan Bush. And whatever you may say about Frank Dukes as a credible person, I know he worked on fight choreography for this movie, and it's great. The fight choreography is very, very engaging. It's like just a music video to basically super martial artists. And some people will like complain about some of the martial arts scenes in this movie, that when guys get kicked, they're flying in directions that defy physics. I mean, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, that is just fine by you, right? If you're, I mean, like, who freaking cares? The whole idea is you're conveying the spectacle of the move, right? You know, in this larger-than-life atmosphere. So who cares if someone's flying in an awkward direction from the kick, right? So anyway, I find this movie is one of the most beautiful, engaging, memorable, timeless movies that exist. I think it's canon's best film. It's my all-time favorite movie. I can watch this movie a million times and never get bored of it. There's Jackson right there, who actually returned for Bloodsport 2, the next Kumite, in the Vic role. Vic was the lovable, nerdy, cool Asian guy with the giant aviator glasses and the tracksuit and the mullet. But yeah, Jackson. The acting in this movie is great, too. Like, the casting is just, people were just pretty much playing themselves, pretty much. And it really came through, you know? Like, Jackson, who was also in Revenge of the Nerds, he's just this, like, big, loudmouth, lovable, like, biker dude who, you know, he's very authentic and funny, and he's kind of like a class clown type character, but he's just a super tough guy, and you can't help but like him, you know? So he's, like, the perfect buddy character. And, you know, Dukes and Jackson, it's like they have this sense of, like, honor. Like, they don't like Chong Li, because he's, like, you know, he fights dirty and he kills people, you know? So they want to knock him down a peg, but it's not about knocking Chong Li down a peg as much as it is, like, doing the right thing, you know? And also, another great scene is these guys playing Karate Champ right here. So you also get to see some really nice 8-bit gaming right here. So, guys, what do I give Bloodsport on a scale of 1 to 10? This movie breaks the scales, my friend. I give this movie an infinity out of 10, because I think it's the best movie of all time. And, Seraphina, do you agree? You think Bloodsport's the best movie ever? What do you think, buddy? Huh? Yeah? Yes, I do. Ah, very good, baby. Okay, guys, so there you have it. That has been the Noel Comics Bloodsport review. And until next time, guys, I'm Noel, and this is Seraphina. And for Santino, he's at school right now, so we will see you guys in the very near future. You guys take care. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Bloodsport, the true story of a kumite and the people who fought in it.
I guess what I'm really proud of is that it isn't a story about violence. It's not, you know, it's a story about human beings and faith and about determination and respect. And that's what I've run my life by, and that's what this movie's about.